After Trump was elected, Bitcoin surged past 100,000 for the first time. Trump has said that he will somehow maintain USD dominance against the BRICS nations. And Michael Saylor has suggested a radical way to do this.
So the very simple idea is buy 20 or 25% of the Bitcoin network on behalf of the US government, catalyze the development of that world reserve capital network, and then let all the Chinese and the Russians and the foreigners sell all their other assets and buy Bitcoin, and then the money flows into the United States. If you want to put a great twist on it, dump your gold, sell all the US gold, buy Bitcoin, then the trade is free because you could buy 5 million Bitcoin for the cost of the gold. You will demonetize the entire gold asset class, and our enemies hold gold in their banks, so their assets would go to zero. Our assets would go to $100 trillion, and we would control the world's reserve capital network as well as the world's reserve currency network.
This scheme could magically wipe away the current deficit, which Trump alluded to in the recent past.
Who knows, maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion, hand him a little crypto check, right? We'll hand him a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
Early Bitcoin advocate Roger Ver is being threatened with 109 years in prison for tax evasion, even though he renounced his U.S. citizenship in 2014. Weeks after publishing his book, Hijacking Bitcoin, The Hidden History of BTC, Roger Ver was arrested by Interpol in Spain and has been held in the country at the behest of the U.S. government. He was recently interviewed by Tucker Carlson as to why the U.S. government is after him.
There was no doubt in my mind whatsoever that people were going to start using Bitcoin as money. And so I thought, oh, this is every libertarian's dream come true. Suddenly now we're going to have a choice. Bitcoin was supposed to be money for the world. Bitcoin was supposed to be used for payments as peer-to-peer cash for the world. And that's how people were using it. And, I was doing payroll in it and I was paying my suppliers overseas. But then later, this giant wave of censorship took place. Anonymous people that nobody knows their real names managed to get control of all the main discussion platforms for Bitcoin. And then suddenly, one day overnight, nobody was even allowed to advocate for Bitcoin being used as money. And they censored anybody that tried to do that. And initially, everybody saw through it. But then everybody that came to Bitcoin after the censorship began, they just started believing it. And today, the main people that are out there promoting Bitcoin, they literally say, oh, Bitcoin shouldn't compete with the US dollar. Bitcoin, you shouldn't use it as money. You shouldn't use it to pay for things. Like Bitcoin is just a digital asset. You should just hold it. And it's the exact opposite. They've through the censorship and the propaganda, they've literally hijacked Bitcoin. And I literally wrote an entire book about it. You can find more at hijackingbitcoin.com. It's available on Amazon and everywhere else. And lo and behold, just a couple of weeks after the book is published, I get arrested, and now I'm facing 109 years in federal prison for having exposed the way in which Bitcoin was hijacked.
Is it now possible to conduct any kind of business with crypto anonymously?
So in the early days, everybody thought Bitcoin was basically anonymous, and people treated it that way. And then websites came up that were selling things that governments might not necessarily want you to buy. And people were using Bitcoin for that because they thought it was basically anonymous. And then later on, we found out that it wasn't anonymous at all, but additional steps were taken to make Bitcoin even less anonymous. And today, most people are just using custodial wallets, which are, it's not even a wallet. It's just an account, and it's no more private than your, Bank of America or PayPal account. And in fact, it's even less private. People are claiming that Bitcoin is freedom money, but I'm really afraid that they're literally building the financial prison walls around themselves. Like if you look at what's going on in El Salvador, everybody's excited about Bitcoin there, but they're all using custodial accounts that the government can see every single transaction you're making, and they can freeze your account at any time. That's the exact opposite of economic freedom. That's economic government control. And so anybody that's paying attention should be really, really concerned about this. And they should be advocating the use of cryptocurrencies in which individuals can actually have control of their own money and have control over their own lives, their own destiny. Maybe that'll be Bitcoin, thanks to this new technology called confidential layer that bridges it onto Zano. But and I don't know what it's going to be, but we need to be really, really careful because, it could wind up that before we know it and before we realize it, we've built the financial prison walls around us, and it's too late to get out and too late to escape.
So it doesn't sound like you're suspicious that Bitcoin was created by the intel agencies as a kind of trap for people.
I don't think it was created that way initially, but I am suspicious, and I do think that the intel agencies and other groups have converted it and hijacked it into becoming a financial trap.
Learn more at freerogernow.org.